In the mix, in the mix, in the mix, Carl.
What's good, everybody? You are now in the mix. It's your big dog kid, 6 Shot Town's finest, Carlton, your dig, no Leah, aka the therapist. But we're gonna hold things down. Your girl so effing classy is behind the scenes this week. We are back, ladies and gentlemen, and we got a dope ass shop talk lined up for y'all. But before we get into any of that, man, shout out to our sponsors, Wine O'Clock and Rich King Brand. And of course, we're still doing it for the ladies, and we are able to reschedule. Lady who was supposed to join us a week or so ago. Alicia. So she'll be joining us this week. So we'll have that episode lined up for y'all as well. That'll be dropping next week, you know. So if you're still into real estate and want to get all the knowledge that you can with that, we'll have that episode lined up for y'all. So don't worry, man. We still represent for the ladies. Yeah, we still represent.
That episode back too, because I'm gonna need that all of that real estate. I need all of that.
Yeah. This is good, man. This has definitely been good. Again, shout out to Maria Fitness.
She held it down.
She held it down. That episode was dope. Few people hit me up about that episode, especially the ladies. They hit me up about that episode. Told them, hey, if y'all need some more tips or whatever, make sure y'all just go and hit her up, but don't waste her time either.
Don't waste her time, man.
Yeah, we ain't doing none of that in 2022. Don't waste anybody's time, all right?
Getting them booked. Let's get it.
That's a whole fact, man. Before we get into shop talk though, because last week we had breaking news with the Russell Wilson trade to Denver. Immediately. Opened up the AFC. Like the AFC is pretty stacked.
That whole division, they just sent the whole division up.
Nah, they definitely did, because we talked about Aaron Rodgers. Getting that contract.
Got that contract.
But it kind of left questions, right? For Devontae Adams. They put the franchise tag on him, but he wasn't going to play on the franchise tag.
He wasn't going to play on it.
And I respect that.
I respect that.
I understand.
His option. You can't force him to play. They was having issues before that anyways.
Right.
The fact that they even put the franchise tag on him, I can see exactly why. He was like, we're not good. Like, how you going to just franchise tag me? Like, we good. It's all right.
So, before we get into the breaking news with that, which everybody is already aware of, but if you're not aware and you've been sleeping under a log, don't worry. We'll get into that. Do you feel as though Green Bay should have handled Devontae before they handled Aaron?
On paper, you gotta handle A-Rod first.
Okay.
But I feel like in how you handle A-Rod, you gotta while they negotiating with him, while he's negotiating with them, they gotta mention Devontae, we know this is your weapon. This should be a number one weapon. And we know you're gonna need him, especially if you're trying to win. Are you trying to win? Or are you trying to get paid?
Right.
And it's for the organization, they always trying to win.
Mm-hmm.
If he's trying to get paid, not gonna knock him, but I feel like he's been in the league long enough. I don't know how much he's got paid overall.
Right.
But I feel like the goal is to always win. The money's gonna be there. And I feel like they could have been we gotta do something with it because we gotta appease him too. And I mean, I don't know if A-Rod was just forget him, let me get my bread, but I feel like you can't negotiate a contract with him and not mention Devontae.
And the crazy part is, man, over these last couple of years or so, A-Rod has always been, screaming that it hasn't been about the money. But meanwhile, it's kind of A-Rod, you showing it's been about the money.
I'm saying about something.
It's been about the money.
Cause it ain't like it's for team. You got some weapons, you got a decent team. Sometimes they don't get there, whatever. We get it. It happens. It's football, but it seems like it's been about the money. Every time something happens and it end up being good, the solution was always money.
Yeah. So that's crazy. But once that was announced, then Devontae Adams, with the breaking news, got traded to the Raiders. He's now reunited with his former quarterback in college. I didn't even know that they played together at Fresno State.
Yeah.
David Carr, who are also good friends outside of that too. So they've been friends since Fresno and even going into the league together. So
it's a lot of that.
Right.
It's a lot of old college quarterback wide receiver combos.
It's crazy. So the Raiders, they amped up their offense while also signing Chandler Jones, who was a free agent from the Arizona Cardinals. So the AFC West is looking real competitive right now because the Kansas City Chiefs, they also added Juju Smith-Schuster from free agency.
They did add Juju.
They added Juju, so
There was a lot going on this past week. Still going on.
a lot going on. Now,
You just reminded me.
here's where the breaking news really kicked in for everybody, right?
Hey, I already know what you about to say.
Because what was like 2 Fridays ago, no evidence, so they ruled everything off the table for Deshaun Watson.
No criminal charges.
No criminal charges. Now, I believe that was just with the league, if I'm not mistaken, because I think they still have like legal.
So they still got civil suits.
Okay, yeah,
You
the
know,
civil suits.
It's not criminal, but it's still civil. So
Yeah,
the league is probably like, as long as it's not criminal,
right.
you know how the NFL do.
Yeah. So once that one up, the Deshaun Watson sweepstakes
It was
started immediately.
Immediately.
And Atlanta,
It was
on
the,
there.
the final two was supposed to be Atlanta and New Orleans, right?
yeah. And not Green Bay, Cleveland was in the mix.
Yeah,
But then they got dropped out.
Yeah.
But somehow, some way,
They finessed.
they finessed it so
finessed.
well, sending over 6 draft picks.
What was it? 2 first, 2 second, a third,
Third, and I
fifth,
think
something like that.
yeah, somewhere around there, and also giving him $230 million.
It's a good chunk of that guaranteed too.
Good chunk of that guaranteed. Good chunk of that.
Yeah. He. I mean, you can't even say nothing. He came up from them that clearly.
But mind you, they already had, because they have their number 1 overall draft pick, Baker Mayfield.
I don't even like Baker, but they do got Baker.
They got Baker, right?
I don't
But
like Baker.
the organization said they wanted a more mature quarterback.
So they gonna get the okay. Okay.
You go from an immature quarterback to a QB who likes to
a serial happy endinger.
yeah.
Yeah. This man. I mean,
Man.
if you talk about on the field, I'm taking Deshaun over Baker.
Oh, of course.
But you can't just talk about on the field when he is a serial happy endinger. When he got these civil suits. But I mean, and we forgot, Baker put out a statement to the organization and stuff like that before. He made a trade, right?
So before all of that, right? So before everything went down and Baker was like, and Deshaun was like, you know what? No, they're on my no trade clause. Trade me to Cleveland.
Yeah.
Baker demanded a trade request. Cleveland dubbed it.
Of course.
They dubbed it. But how could you turn it down? Because you went to go meet with this person, so you already had the interest of swapping quarterbacks. Like, you know what? We'd rather have you than Baker. So, but if we can't get you, Baker, I understand it's rubbed you the wrong way, but we still going to keep you. No. Now I want out. So, will the team trade for him? Or will it put Cleveland in a tight spot and have to release him if nobody decides to trade for him? I could see a team trading for him, but I don't see a team giving up a first-round pick.
Yeah, they're not going to give up that much.
No.
His value ain't that high.
Not at all.
I don't see him being a backup either.
Not at all.
I don't see him backing up.
But it also kind of rubbed another quarterback the wrong way.
Who?
In Atlanta.
Yeah.
Matty Ice.
Matty Ice. Because he's
Now,
out of there.
You know what?
They just got his ass up out of there.
Regardless of what took place, in that Super Bowl, they should have won.
They should have smoked them.
Matt Ryan is definitely a Hall of Famer. He's a future Hall of Famer. He's put up a lot of great numbers in Atlanta. I know they couldn't always get the job done. Atlanta honestly hasn't been right ever since that Super Bowl.
They have not.
They haven't been right.
I know.
But he was traded.
A couple Atlanta fans too.
Yeah, he was traded to the Indianapolis Colts. So Atlanta really has a lot of gaps to fill. Meanwhile, New Orleans, they solidified their quarterback spot.
They did.
Jameis signed a
He's
2-year
coming
deal, so he'll be coming back.
He been grinding in this offseason too. He got some weird physical therapy type workouts and stuff like that.
Yeah, definitely. So you know what? I definitely want to
see
see him have a comeback year. I want to see him get comeback player of the year, man. I'm definitely rooting for Jameis, man. But yeah, so right now, that QB position in Atlanta is open.
It's open.
They signed Marcus Mariota, but he probably won't.
I don't know if he's gonna be the starter.
Right.
And you know me, I'm an Oregon guy, so I rock with Mariota, but I don't see him being a QB1 right now. With the way that it's been looking this past week, I don't see him being QB1. I don't know.
Yeah. So what did you make of the Cleveland Texans trade?
I mean, they gave up a lot.
They did.
They gave up a lot, and I feel like, I mean, the way that Cleveland is, we know they got a terrible history.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they're historically terrible.
Right.
And for what they gave up, I feel like it's like a never-ending cycle. That they just giving up all kinds of stuff, trying to rebuild, because that's a lot of stake that you put into Deshaun.
Yeah.
And I don't really know what else y'all got to go along with that to make it worth it. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, that's the same old story in Cleveland, ain't it?
It definitely is. Same old Cleveland. But here's the thing. When you look at this Texans organization,
because they terrible too.
They're extremely terrible. I believe the expansion came into the league, back in 2003 or 2004, I believe. Or was it? No, you know what? I believe it was 2002. It took some years. They've made the playoffs a few times, but they've never really been that good. And you saw some star-studded players come into that organization. Shout out to Andre Johnson, man. I wish he could have got himself a ring, because
right.
he got drafted into that organization at the number 3 overall pick. And you look at, DeAndre Hopkins, you look at J.J. Watt, now Deshaun Watson. You look at some of these great players coming into an organization to where it's like they don't know how to really put the pieces together around those star-studded players. And they also had, Jadeveon Clowney as well. So it's like they had the right pieces, but just couldn't put the right mix together, from the quarterback standpoint, prior to Deshaun Watson getting drafted by them. Some solid defensive players to add to build around Jadeveon as well as JJ. Because you gotta think he was also JJ Watt was a 2-time defensive player of the year.
He was on an elite level.
Right. Another number 2 wide receiver opposite of D-Hop. You gotta look at the numbers he was putting up prior to Deshaun Watson coming into the league.
That was supposed to be.
The quarterbacks that he had were horrible.
That was supposed to be the tandem. Deshaun's supposed to be the
right. So it's kind of like, who do you think won in this situation? Because you could clearly tell that Houston is on a rebuild.
Yeah, because they got.
Do they know how to rebuild?
That's the thing I'm about to say. They got a lot of picks that they can use, but are they gonna make the right picks? Are they gonna do the right? Are they gonna get the right pieces? We don't know.
We really don't know. And then when you look at Cleveland, and you look at the long list of quarterbacks that they've drafted or signed to lead this franchise. Granted, Baker, he led them to the playoffs, got them the first playoff win in over, I don't know how many years or so. And of course, it would happen against the Pittsburgh Steelers. But you know what? I like the moves that they've been making this offseason, so shout out to them. But, now Baker is added onto that list of sorry quarterbacks that they thought could be the one to lead this franchise somewhere. Could Deshaun Watson be that missing piece for them? We don't know. It's kind of like Deshaun's going from one bad organization to another. Because it's like Cleveland, they have the pieces, they just don't know how to use them.
They never do. That's why.
At
That's
all.
what I'm saying. That's the same old story in Cleveland. So
Yeah.
it's not like I expect them to have a lot of success,
Mm-hmm.
no matter how well he does, just because for some reason shit just doesn't go right in Cleveland.
Right.
But I mean, if they do have some success, I feel like their definition of success would be like having a plus 500 record or something like that. Like, but clearly ain't gonna be enough. So
Agreed. And you got really, and it was so crazy to me because I was just tweeting about this the other day, and I'm just like, damn, when you look at there's two teams in the AFC North that are representing Ohio, Cincinnati and Cleveland. Joe Burrow's only been in the league for 2 seasons, and he's already led.
been in the freaking Super Bowl.
Right, he's already led them to the Super Bowl. They was on a drought playoffs.
They were.
Even having their first win in the playoffs over 25 years or so.
Yeah.
And you just see what he's done as a true number 1 overall pick. And it was kind of like what the amount of success that Baker was having at Oklahoma is what Cleveland thought they were going to get carrying into the league. And it's kind of like when you really look at it, Baker, he's just an average quarterback. In my eyes, he's an average quarterback.
I don't really be liking his attitude like that.
He's a bit cocky for no reason.
I still got a bad taste in my mouth for what happened between him and Odell. Like I don't like that. So
I agree.
I don't really got too much good stuff
He's
to say
a
about
cocky
Baker.
quarterback for no reason. You know who he reminds me of?
Who?
Phillip Rivers. Phillip Rivers was extremely cocky, but never got the Chargers to the Super Bowl.
Yeah. He put up better numbers than Baker.
Yeah.
But
I give him
level
that.
of cocky. He was acting like he's supposed to be mentioning like to the people that had rings
Right.
from his class and all of that. So
And I mean gotta think, he's played on the Chargers back then. I mean, he's played with LT.
LT was a MVP.
They also
LT
had
was
Sean
wild.
Merriman. Yeah.
They had the pieces that they needed. He just
They definitely did.
So we could put that on him easily. It's all good though. Matty Ice, he's a Colt now.
He's a Colt now. I'm pretty sure whoever is a Colts fan is extremely excited.
I know a few of them.
Yeah.
They are.
And oh man, did we really think he was actually going to sit out and be retired?
Yo,
a lot of folks say, you know what, he had a reality check with them kids and his wife.
They said he met him for the first. He met his kids and met his wife, and was like, "Nah, I'm going back to the league. I'm not."
Tom Brady announced that he's coming out of retirement, so he's going to run it back one more time. And a couple players who were free agents, they did resign.
He was gone for like what, 40 days?
Yeah, it was about like 2 months.
It was barely 2 months. Because did he announce it before the Super Bowl?
Yeah. He announced it before the Super Bowl because he didn't want to take away from, Cincy, Joe Burrow, and all the
He did. But the Super Bowl was February 13th.
Mm-hmm.
He just announced last week. That's like 40 days. That's like that's not even just like a month and a week. That man really was just like, like it was pointless. Mm-hmm. You could have just stayed, bro. Like you barely let the NFL go into the off season.
Right.
Before you was just like, you know what? I'm coming back. I mean, I get it though. He might as well. He said you heard he said made him do it, right?
LeBron.
He said LeBron. LeBron told me if I'm still doing it, we still kicking, gotta keep pushing.
Yeah.
So I mean, I respect it though. He about to set some. At this point, we already know Brady got nothing left to prove. He about to hit all the longevity marks. Like I know him and Drew Brees was going at it. He finally overcame that. He about to just make that gap even larger.
It's like at this point, because Aaron Rodgers isn't even. I don't even believe he's anywhere close to their numbers at all. He's not at all. And it's kind of like when you sit back. Well, who could be next? Like, could anyone really top Drew Brees or let alone Tom Brady's numbers?
You know what they're gonna say? They're gonna say Pat Mahomes, which
I can see.
He got a long time.
Patrick Mahomes would really be the closest person I would say because they're going to. Kansas City is going to forever make sure that they have the right offensive weapons to surround him. I mean, he got that 10-year contract, so they got to do everything that they can.
He gonna hold it down. I think he gonna hold it down. He probably got a couple more rings left in there too, because his skill isn't diminishing by a long shot. So
at all. But this is going to be a very competitive season. How do you feel about your Bears? Yeah, I haven't really done much.
Yeah, we ain't really much. I was just hyped when we made the staff and changes and stuff, the coach, GM, and all that. So
you lost Khalil Mack.
We I don't even want to say nothing about that. I mean,
yeah,
we misused him. As good as he is, and we had a Super Bowl level defense.
Yeah,
but we couldn't even get the offense to put up enough points so that the defense don't feel like they out there doing everything.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I feel like Khalil was probably unhappy, and I feel like they probably felt like, just like he did, that they was wasting his talent and time and stuff like that. He probably like, get me up out of here. But
I think the good thing is he ended up in a good place to where this is a playoff contending team. The Chargers, the Los Angeles Chargers.
Yeah.
You got Trey. They have a nice defense.
Yeah. They defense on another level.
Joey Bosa.
They defense on another level.
Yeah. They have a young, good quarterback. Justin Herbert is nice.
Yeah, he's
this season is going to be extremely competitive. The AFC is stacked.
It's gonna be. We just seen what just happened with this past Super Bowl and all that. So it's a lot going on over there in LA anyway.
Oh
so,
yeah,
they
definitely.
I wish the best for Khalil though.
Oh yeah, for sure. Speaking of LA, so over the weekend, the Lakers were in town.
They were
face off against the Wizards.
They were,
and record breaking took place. LeBron James is now second.
Passed up Karl Malone.
In
the all-time scoring list.
That's major. Shout out to LeBron. It's still that when we sit back, everybody they still want to have that GOAT talk, right? And I think it's crazy to me because when you really sit back and a lot of LeBron fans.
Yeah.
I know a lot of LeBron fans. But we also know the LeBron fans, they enjoy making excuses for LeBron. Oh, he just needed this. He needed that. And then when you mention MJ, well, it's like, MJ needed Scottie. And it's kind of like nobody knew what type of player Scottie was going to be. He got drafted. So it wasn't as if he got, traded from, during the draft, he got traded from Seattle. They did the swap. But it's like you really didn't know. And then on top of that, like, MJ, he needed like that number 2. He needed that. And he also needed to be able to trust in his teammates.
And he developed them too.
So, I just don't understand how they continue to skip over Kobe as if like this man didn't exist in the league.
First of all, before we even get to that part, the Lakers lost that game.
They did.
They had a 16-point lead.
Yeah. They're trash, bro.
And they lost that
They're
game.
Trash.
So they can salute him to that. But for the present day fan right now, we knew he was going to break that record at any point during the season, whatever. For the present day fan though, it's like, dog, damn well you're supposed to win that game. So like, you gonna get your point, you're supposed to win that game. 16-point lead, you blew that, came to DC, and they got you up out of there, man. I mean, cool. But I mean, on the other hand though too, like I said, still hats off to him for getting that, because that's a longevity award. I don't really look at that kind of record as like a skill type record, because I mean, he just passed up Karl Malone, who we never really mentioned in like scoring conversations as like one of the greatest scorers. It's just the fact that he's.
I think everybody knows why his name doesn't really get mentioned.
I mean, we know why. For the basketball reasons why. It's not like he wasn't like known as a scorer. He just happened to play a very long time and was still able to get like 20 points or something a night, which was, again, like I said, it's a longevity award. The fact that you can do that, that's saying something about, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
So we know LeBron is very, very healthy right now. He's still going crazy. So, I mean, if anything, we just count down until if he passes up Kareem. You know what I'm saying? So, shout out to him for getting that, though. Should have won a game.
Oh, my goodness. Man, oh, man. These dudes they're just stressful, man. They are extremely stressful, but it's cool. You know,
It's all good.
it is all good, man. And you know, man, we just gonna continue to scream free Brittany Griner. You know, we want to continue to keep her in our prayers, man. She's still locked up.
Up out of there.
It's just crazy. It's crazy to a lot of us, the fact that like what she's locked up for.
Yeah.
But of course, Russia is going to. We know why they're doing this. They're going to be petty. They're going to be petty. So it's,
they got something they holding over our head. Because
right.
A lot of people is like, if this was a male superstar, it would be a totally different story. Which I agree. They'll be doing a whole lot more to get it, but it's still just horrible anyway. Because like I said before, I feel like this isn't something she hasn't done before.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like she's been playing over there for like 7 to 8 years in the off season from the WNBA, and right now is the time they want to choose to do that. So
it's just crazy, man.
Free Brittany Griner.
That's all fact, man. Definitely. But we're gonna do some swimming laps over to some shop talk.
Yeah, man.
We got the shop talk discussion, man, and I know this definitely made some headlines. And I know there's a lot of folks who haven't been too pleased about it. Yo, I got a question before we jump into this. Does Vlad have like a contract with Boosie?
He probably do.
I feel like they
wasn't
always
even mention him.
Yeah, I feel like they always include him on certain topics like this just because they know how Boosie feels when it comes to the LGBTQ community. So, but yeah, this is a very touchy subject here because we all know how a lot of folks may feel when it comes to this. Yeah.
So we can preface that right there. Viewer discretion is advised.
Yes.
But it is something that has to be talked about because in me doing what I do and keeping my ears to these streets and keeping them clippers to them heads, this is just something that's being talked about widespread. Not even just in the shop. I mean, it's a shop talk, but this is like real life talk because a lot of people have gotten fed up. And if y'all don't know what we're talking about right now, there's a swimmer, a transgender swimmer, by the name of Leah Thomas, right? Now, Leah Thomas swims for UPenn, and she just won like the championship. And the issue was that, she's like biologically male. And it's a lot of like, I'm trying to be careful with my words because it's a lot of that lingo that I don't fully understand in the community. But I mean, being honest, but it's the fact that her being biologically male, a lot of people are saying that's the reason why it was so easy for her to win, because it's not even like, and this is like, I guess it makes a difference. I don't know too much about it, but it's not even like this person was a child and then was like, I want to be a woman, and then it made the change. It was like they got older and then did the sex change and then started to compete against women and was like smoking them in the water. And everybody's like, it's not fair. And now, this raises the issue, which is the whole reason why this is the shop talk. Where do we draw the line? How do we draw the line? Because it's like, if this transgender person wants to be identified as a woman, then they're like, technically you have to let her compete with the women. Yeah. But they're like, that's cool and all, but your DNA still is like male, so you still have an advantage over the women you swimming against. And then you shouldn't be able to do that. But they're saying that those two issues kind of collide, and they're choosing if you say she's a woman, and she can swim against a woman. And that's where everybody's having a issue at. So she's already had the transformation, or does she still have the genitals and everything of the male physical features? So that's another part right there too.
Right.
Because to answer your question, yes, she still has those pieces. So there's some people were saying that her teammates kind of feel uncomfortable because like when they're in a locker room and all of that, like in the showers and whatever. Yeah. Everybody's walking around naked or whatever, and it's like you got this person that still has like a male genitalia walking around, so they feeling uncomfortable about that.
Okay.
That's just in the locker room stuff.
Right.
That's happening. It's the other side though to it when it's like when they go out there and swim. It's like
It's a clear cut, easy advantage.
Yeah. So now it's like, where do you draw the line? Because I feel like so this is my take. I feel like, in all fairness, because sports are about fairness, there has to be a separate league for transgender people.
Okay.
Like, I mean, even if there has to be two, even if it's like one for trans women, one for trans men, there just has to be. And I guess the difference there is if they say they're a woman, then they're a woman. So why are we making a separate league for the trans women? But I feel like this right here is the reason why, because stuff like this is going to happen.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's like, in all fairness, it's like we know the types of advantages that, like, you know, being a man can have against that. And if it were like an actual man swimming against some women and they were winning, they would look at it like that's not fair because you have
Exactly. Yeah.
And in this situation, this is like what's happening. And I didn't want to mention. I know you mentioned him. I didn't want to mention him, but because people was on his ass, they always on his ass. Like you said, it's like they specifically choose Boosie to talk about stuff like this because they know it's gonna get people riled up. They know he's gonna overdo it sometime. But one point that he made that a lot of people agreed with was he said that it's like a slippery slope because what can happen is a lot of people can grow. Like say if it's a guy, a boy, and he's like, okay, I'm gonna grow up, I'm gonna train in whatever, swimming, basketball, whatever. I'm gonna train in it my whole life. And then once I become older and I become an adult or something like that, I'm gonna just be like, all right, now I'm a woman. So like imagine you playing basketball and all of that, and then you about to go like you in high school, the middle of high school, or on your way to college or something. And you're like, yeah, I'm a woman now, and you freaking 360 windmill in between your legs and stuff, and now you get to play against the women.
Right.
You're gonna be demolishing. It's gonna be certain stuff that you can do that most women can't physically do. Like a lot of them can't do at all. And then they're gonna you just expect people to just be like, okay, it's cool because you're a woman now, just because you know you're a woman now, and everybody's. It's gonna look crazy, but I feel like it's like a reality part versus the politically correct part, or the trying to be politically correct part.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, we know there's a difference.
It's definitely a difference. And what you had mentioned as far as her still having like her male genital parts, it is a slippery slope. And we're trying to use, the correct terms and everything here, Mixxeners. So please forgive us if we use something incorrectly. But I mean that to be honest with you, that wouldn't be a bad idea if they had their own Olympics. And it's not to take away anything away from them, but if they're not fully I guess the transformation is not fully there, and their DNA still has them listed as male. I guess I'm not sure how it goes. Like once they have that transformation, if their DNA now becomes woman, once they go through the what is it the steroids or the looking for the correct word for the transformation, like what do?
Yeah, I mean, I think it is like like testosterone.
Okay, yeah.
Estrogen, stuff like that.
Yeah, so if it's not fully there and you're still listed, as male, or if you're still listed as female, yeah, y'all should have your own Special Olympics. And it's not to take away anything, but what it does is it leads people to question, like, well, this isn't fair. How is it that, she's listed as a woman, but she's still listed, DNA still has her as male.
That's what they say.
And it's unfair, especially to the women out here who've been training, and it's not to take away from her for training for this as well, but it's just like, the women in that
It is
division.
what it is, man.
You know,
Yeah.
it's like, damn, we've been training and we're getting our asses kicked now by. She says she's a woman, but it's still a male out here. You know,
it's still genetically male.
right? Yeah,
That's like the term that a lot of people use, like genetically male, genetically female, and they're just like, okay, if you say you're a woman, all of that, you want to be a woman. People can respect that.
Yeah,
it is what it is. You're in the process of the change or whatever, but they're like, right now, you're still like genetically male,
right?
So it's not fair. So I guess this is creating an issue because, and I feel like this is a point that a lot of people felt like was going to happen a long time ago. Like nobody's surprised that this happened. People seen this coming, and now it's the point where something has to be done about it. And I feel like the issue here in coming up with a solution to this is going to be trying to come up with the best and the most fair solution without offending anybody, which I don't really think is possible.
Right.
But at the same time, it has to be done. So, I mean, something will have to give. I don't know what to say.
Yeah.
So I want to say something real quick. So when you were talking about the hormones and everything, because it's shots that they do.
Okay.
You take estrogen or vice versa, you know, but it's going to get tricky with that. You can't get it based off of that. If you're going to do a league, it has to be just trans, period. You can't do based off their hormone levels because then it'll get tricky, just like we seen with an actual female, born and raised female. Her estrogen and everything was a little higher. So her levels were different, and they thought that was unfair. She had an unfair advantage, but she's like, I can't help that my levels, because everybody's hormone levels still can be high or low, depending on how you was. It doesn't matter how you was born. That's just how. So you can't really base it on that. So it would just have to be trans. That's it. But you can't say, oh well, if you fully this and you got your shots and your hormones are this and that, then you can. It wouldn't work because then they would be bringing regular people over, or not regular people. I'm sorry, but you know, but
true.
See, it's a lot of gray area in situations like this. And you got to be aware of stuff like that because I don't know how you would even gauge it because I still feel like it would be different if you on either side, trans man versus trans woman.
Yeah, this is tough. This is definitely tough because you just, it's one of them things where it's tricky. This is very tricky, and it's like you want to go about it the right way, but then it's just like for them, they're looking at it like this is being the right way by being inclusive, you know, including them in there, making them, you know, and making them feel comfortable. But then also at the same time, it's just like, while we're doing that, it's also unfair to others. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. This whole point, we knew it was gonna get to this point one day, and something is gonna have to give because it's gonna have to happen fast though. Because Leah Thomas is still an athlete. You know, she's still an athlete, so you can't just be like, oh well, you're a woman, so you can't compete with the guy,
right?
With the guys, but you're also still genetically male, so you can't compete with the women. Then what do you do? So they're gonna have to figure something out. I don't even know what to call it. I just know that right now, you know what I'm saying. It's like some sort of slippery slope that's going on when it's just like, you know, this can happen, and like she's just beating the women in the swim races and stuff like that, and they're actually practicing, you know, like that's like you said, their whole entire lives. And so I feel like it kind of sucks to be like they can't compete right now, but you almost have to at least go by that until something else happens. Because I mean, I don't know. Is it gonna be two first place or something like that? A first A, first B? Because I don't know. I don't know how you gauge it, man. This is a dilemma that is. This is above my level. I don't even know what to do.
Right. This is extremely tough. Because that you try to figure out a solution. I mean, that's a very good solution, to be honest with you. But then you also don't want to make it seem as though like you're trying to separate them or make them feel like they're not inclusive, because we know how that can get extremely ugly.
Yeah.
But also at the same time, it wouldn't be a bad idea, you know. And the prime example, you know, they have the Special Olympics, right?
They do. I was gonna mention that too.
You know, they have the Special Olympics, and I mean, for them, yeah, they would love to be able to actually be out there and compete with those who are actually in the Olympics who don't have, you know, a disability or anything. But it's just like, y'all made this league for us, so we still feel good. You know, we still feel included because we have our own league and we're able to still compete with a lot of folks who we have the similarities and special needs and everything. So that wouldn't be a bad idea. It really wouldn't. And it wouldn't take away. And I believe, you know, if they were to end up having their own Olympics, it would highlight them more. But right now, I just think as it's been, you know, in the streets been buzzing. It's bringing more controversy than highlighting the success behind it.
Yeah.
Which is extremely tough when you really think about it. So yeah, man, I don't know. Like you said, they're definitely going to have to operate quickly on this one.
I gotta read this joint real quick because this is directly related though, and we just got this sent to the group chat.
Okay.
As it says, Caster Semenya loses case to compete as a woman in all races in the Olympics. Pretty much, the case, it says, female track athletes with naturally elevated levels of testosterone must decrease the hormone to participate in certain races at major competitions like the Olympics. The highest court in international sports said on Wednesday in a landmark ruling amid the pitched debate over who can compete in women's events. And I guess Caster Semenya is a two-time Olympic champion at the 800 meters from South Africa, who had challenged the proposed limits placed on female athletes with naturally elevated levels of muscle building hormone testosterone. So, I mean, like I said, I don't really know too much what to do here because stuff like that is extremely confusing.
Yeah,
but it's very, very necessary because you see this type of stuff that this opens up for, and we see it happening on even the college level. It's going to happen on the international level. I don't know too much how much this happens in other countries. Yeah, but because I know that it happens and it can happen in other countries and it's happening in this country, and like we just said, South Africa, it's gonna have to. When it gets to the highest level, which is like Olympic level, it's gonna have to be delegated a certain kind of way. So most likely saying, you know what I'm saying, what I'm keeping my ears to these streets and these clippers to these heads is that, I mean, we just gonna have to see if the highest rulers can come up with some kind of way to organize this and get it together, because it's a lot of people that's like, this isn't fair, and whether they're planning it or not, but and it makes sense. That's the main thing. But
right.
We're gonna have to see what's going on.
Yeah, man, we definitely want to keep y'all updated because, like you said, man, we're hearing about it, but we wouldn't be surprised if this is actually going on in other countries as well.
Yeah, I'm sure it is.
Yeah, we definitely want to keep y'all in the mix with that, man. But look, this was a good shot talk. Glad we were able to discuss this because it was needed.
It was needed. We're gonna have to, everybody's still discussing it. It's gonna be discussed until something being regulated. Then it's gonna be discussed even more because it's gonna be people that agree, disagree, whatever the case might be. But in all fairness, though, just understand, in any kind of sport, it's just like you wouldn't let adults play with kids or something like that.
Right.
You wouldn't let, same kind of like you said, the Special Olympics and like the Olympics or whatever the case might be. There is a difference. That difference has to be recognized, and then something has to be done from there. So figure it out without offending anybody.
Agreed, man. This was a good shop talk discussion. Listen, Mixxeners, man, we appreciate y'all getting in the mix with us as always. And look, we got a dope ass interview for y'all. So if y'all into real estate, don't worry. We have this interview coming up because I know y'all were looking forward to it as well as us. And we're going to hold it down for y'all, man. So look, we still represent for the ladies. Shout out to all the women out there, especially our black women.
Something for the ladies.
You know, it's your big dog Kid 6, Chi-Town's finest Carlton, your dig, and your girl Leah, aka the therapist, holding it down. And always behind the scenes doing her damn thing, so effing classy, aka so effing glassy. So next time, we out of here.
Mix, in the mix, Carlton, Leah, Kid 6, in the